Hey, peace everyone. Wanted to introduce myself. My name is Nigel Clark. I'm the creator of the website Forgotten Fury. I wanted to take this time to talk to you about the project, how it came to fruition, and why I'm making it. So first, I want to get some things out of the way. I want to talk to many of you about why I'm discussing Bruce Lee. I don't have hatred for him. I grew up being a fan of him. I grew up being a fan of his movies, and I still enjoy his movies, and I look at that as great entertainment. Okay, so I want to put that out there. I want to share that with you. And this project also came. This was a need for this project, a discussion about racism in martial arts. This is something that's important because I'll explain why. I came to find out that through a series of interviews that there's always been a problem with racism in martial arts that exists to this day, and it's the reason why I'm making the project so discussions can take place. You have a system, not now. Now you have 1960s and 70s is quote unquote the golden age of martial arts in this country, and you have a system of racism that may have been created within the martial arts community. One of the primary contributors to that may have been Black Belt Magazine. The former editor, Mito O'Hara, has been identified as being one of the core contributors, possibly, to racism in martial arts, and that being Black Belt Magazine. The problem with racism is that you have to understand it's not just about hating someone or not teaching them, or it's about discrediting people. It's about affecting people financially. That's what it is. A gentleman made an illustration talking about racism. He said, racism is like a car, and let's say, if a system was created, that car moves forward, right? So this racist structure, and it may have benefited certain people within the Asian community from a financial perspective. Now, if that's a racist structure and it's like a vehicle, you have to think about, you have to stop it, but also what has to happen? You can't leave it in that garage. You have to, or you can't just leave it there. You have to what? You have to move backwards. You have to reverse. And going in reverse is what I'm doing right now. I'm discussing things that happen, and it's not necessarily very easy for a lot of people to digest. I didn't just wake up one day and say, "Oh man, Bruce Lee's bullshit," and that's not what happened. It was when I started reading older documentation that was not in Black Belt Magazine that I really started to understand that there were tournaments in this country during 1960s and 1970s, every other week, East Coast, West Coast, there were champions, there were fighters. There were people in this country, white, Asian, Black, Hispanic, that made their own viable martial arts systems, that were contributors, valid fighters, great philosophers that have never been discussed. And a lot of it has to do with the miseducation of martial art, the general public. Now, people who are practitioners of martial arts in this country, you all have a great deal of understanding of martial arts in this country. But the average person on the street doesn't know anything about martial arts. Basically because, you try to, and I'm just going to keep it real with you, you go to any black community in the United States, any hood, and you say, can Chuck Norris beat Bruce Lee? And they're going to be like, yo man, I fucking seen Bruce Lee fuck that nigga Chuck Norris up already. And I'm just saying that because that's what people are going to say. Now, no disrespect to Bruce Lee, but I've had discussions with Bob Walls, and I've kind of there's even a video out there on YouTube, like Chuck Norris basically saying, I was a champion, Bruce Lee was an actor. And you have to understand, Bruce Lee's foundational art in his life was acting. He started out as a child actor, turned to martial arts later, and he did a very good job of bringing that martial arts to the screen like no one else has. No one's ever done it like he's done it. So I'm not, basically, in terms of what I see on the screen, I know that there's a difference between, I look at I look at Bruce Lee now and I say, okay, well, he's a good actor, and his movies are good entertainment. But I don't look at him and say, well, he's gonna be able to walk, he's gonna be able to beat some champion and stuff like that. I definitely don't look at him like that anymore. So this article was basically, it's not about, I mean, this series of articles, it's not about discrediting him, but it's definitely about giving other people credit, making other people look at martial arts a different way. And like I said, and this is not going to be a comfortable process. And I'm not, you have to understand something, I'm like a messenger, because I went and talked to these people in the United States, and there's been a huge problem with martial arts in this country, even existing right now. Even right now, it exists to this day. It exists right now. And it's not everyone within the Asian, not all the people within the martial arts community, it's not all the Asian members of the martial arts, but it's a percentage that may have created a racial structure, and it's never been rectified, it's never been addressed, it's never been discussed. So, there are, and if you want to say Bruce Lee, he's definitely one. I'll give you an example. Bruce Lee is one of the most influential martial artists, because what he was able to project, his charisma, his personality. He was fantastic for that. Mike Tyson is probably one of the most influential boxers. Influential, but he's not the best boxer. We know this. But this is something, you can have a discussion. You can say Manny Pacquiao is the best boxer. You can say Floyd Mayweather. You can say Bernard Hopkins. This is a discussion. In martial arts, the general public, they only know about and only discuss Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee is the best, and that's it. And every few years, there's a series of videos over and over and over and over again. And it's just like how Bruce Lee did this, how Bruce Lee did that, how Bruce Lee, but what about the people that influenced him? No one talks about this. No one talks about Judo Gene LaBelle. These are real people. These are real fighters who, the general public, should know about. These are, it's a part of, who were the people that helped make him who he was. So, not just Ip Man, but a lot of it has to do with finances. And like I said, this is not about attacking anyone's. You have to understand, Bruce Lee, if Bruce Lee is projected as the greatest martial artist of all time, then ultimately that immediately will benefit members of the Asian community. It fills schools, it promotes movies, and this, every martial artist who has a movie, whether it's Jet Li or Jackie Chan, any black, white guy, this is how they start their movie. Ah, yes, Bruce Lee is the best of all time. Yes. And then guess what? Then they get money for whatever they're doing. The only person I think who didn't do that probably was Wesley Snipes when he made his Blade movies. I think he had that series of tribute to the martial arts masters, and he may have mentioned Bruce Lee, but then he mentioned all the other masters. And that's what has to happen. Martial arts really needs to start talking about everyone else, and you need it right now, because martial arts in this country is in big trouble because of mixed martial arts, MMA. MMA is basically wiping out, because when these schools are emerging, and they're basically wiping out traditional martial arts in this country. So in order for martial arts to really save itself, it's essential that martial arts start talking about the other masters, the forgotten fury, the people who are out there fighting, the people who are other philosophers, the other Count Dantes. There's Count Dante is an eccentric story. Who is Count Dante? Who is Moses Powell? Who is Judo Gene LaBelle? Who the heck is this guy Luis Delgado? Who are these people? Who is Peter Urban? Who is Maso Yama? Now, many of you may know all these answers, but the general public does not. And you have to look beyond Bruce Lee and really look and find out about the history of martial arts in this country. And hopefully, we can do that together. We can start having more conversations and more discussions about this forgotten fury.